Morning peeps, how are you diddling? It's quite peoply in the forest this morning, so I might have to keep breaking off because there's like bikes and kids and people, which is not my favourite. I like it when it's quiet in here, but it's Sunday obviously and people are out for their constitutionals and a bit of fresh air, which I don't begrudge anybody. Anyway, I thought I would break down a couple of things. Obviously, there's been loads more conversations going on around that post. So I thought I'd dive into a couple of the things. Well, I'm going to dive into it all bit by bit and give you even more to take away and be able to work on, play with, implement. I've always seen myself as a bit of a feminist, but I'm definitely not one of those overt feminists. I say I'm a covert feminist. I don't really know what category I fall into because I'm not about labels. But I think when I look at it, my whole life and existence and the way that I've done things is probably in and of itself my own activism against the patriarchy anyway, because I definitely haven't done things in the prescribed way. But the main thing that it turns out I'm a Marxist as well, according to my husband. So there you go. So the main thing I wanted to talk about was this idea, this spot that is activated in people. And in this particular conversation, we are talking about mostly a lot of women. However, this is across the board, right? This is not a gender specific thing at all. This is a societal, cultural thing, that your worth is directly attached to your productivity. I'm going to start at the end. Until you can detach your self-worth from productivity and more specifically money in the bank, you'll be a slave to this for the rest of your life. You'll never get away from it. You'll literally never get away from it. It will follow you everywhere. And I'm going to explain to you why. It's not your fault. If you have gone through anything that looks like a sort of traditional childhood and education, you have, and throw a bit of religion in there as well if you've had any of that in your life, you have had messages continually, consistently bombarded at you, drip fed to you, that your output, your productivity is what makes you valuable in the world. We go to school and from 3, 4, 5, whatever, the narrative is about the output. The narrative is about how hard you're working, what you are producing, what you're doing. Also, there's another part of that around following the rules and listening to the boss as well, aka the teacher. Very, very quickly, when was the first time someone said to you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And tell me if the answer was anything other than a job. Tell me. Did you say, I want to be successful? I want to be happy? I want to be creative? I want to have impact? No, you said, I want to be fireman, an astronaut, cabin crew, an accountant, a doctor, a nurse, or whatever. Every social conversation starts with, if you're introduced to a new person, so what do you do? And it's not talking about what you actually, who you are and what's important to you. It's, what is your job? What's your job? And then within that, there's a hierarchy of which jobs will move you up the social chain. And it's no surprise, is it, that the jobs that are perceived to be further up the social chain are the jobs that earn the most money. So back to the great hypnobirthing training scam. And you can insert loads of other examples in here, you know. They are not the only ones, but they are by far the ones that I'm hearing about the most at the moment. Let's put it that way. And marketing and words around, you'll be able to make money to give your children or your family opportunities that they might not have had, you know. We're back to, and also let's not forget, these are usually new mums, new parents who have gone through this incredible life-changing experience, and the whole identity shifted anyway, and they're starting to realise, I am more than my job, especially if it's your first, because that is the head fuck of the century. And they're dealing with things, or they have been dealing with things, or they are continue to deal with things like, what have you done today, love? No, nothing. When basically you have been keeping a human being alive, feeding them, helping them to make sense of the world, interacting with them. Maybe you've also been doing things for your other members of your family, interacting with your friends, trying to be a good partner, wife, husband, whatever, like running the house, making sure everyone's fed and watered. You're doing shit. However, because you have probably, like most of us, gone through a system where it's been drip fed to you constantly, you know, that it's about output, productivity, tangible, measurable productivity. That is, I want to say secretly, but it's not, but that's what's going on. They're not saying it, tied to money and what money you're generating for the system, because that's been the case. When you're in this situation where you're not productive in the way that you've been told productivity matters, you're like, I'm doing nothing. I'm not contributing. If I had a tenner for every time I heard from a client or someone in a program or just in conversation how important, and this is women generally and mums, it is to them to feel like they're contributing, and what they really mean by contribution is putting money in the bank. That's really important to them. Where does that come from? It comes from society. Might come from your other half as well, because that's what they've been told. That's their deep, deep belief system as well. I want to just throw something out there. My husband's absolutely fucking spectacular. I think we can all agree that. On many, many different levels. But I think one of the most simple and profound things that he ever said to me in conversation around this was this. He was like, if we're going to like buy into the narrative that like this around this productivity lie, that only productivity that essentially generates money is worthy productivity, and that's how we contribute. He was like, if we sat down and worked out how much a mum, and in this particular instance we were talking about me, should be paid for all the things that they are contributing to the house. So, for example, the childcare, like Keith couldn't go to work when I was at home looking after the kids without chipping in for some childcare. And the taking care of the house, he would have needed a cleaner and somebody to organise the shopping and the food. And because, you know, at that time I was doing more of those things, it would have required, you know, paying somebody to do that, and the laundry, and then also like all the admin and the banking and all of those things. He was like, I'd be handing half of my salary over to you immediately. I also want to say, and I know that we seem to be the exception anyway, I don't get this mine and yours money business. Like, that blows my mind. And maybe that's just because what it's been modelled to me over the years, that a family is a team. And sometimes some people will be contributing more in energy and actions and without numbers on the end. And sometimes the other person will be doing that, and that can flip-flop around. But what happens is the team, the family, everything just goes together. And it's just this beautiful team effort. Like my money and your money and this over here, and let's pay half for this and stuff. It blows my fucking mind. It blows my mind, because all I've ever known is it all just goes in a pot. It all just goes in a pot for the whole family. Because there's a lot of time when contribution is not measured by numbers. The output is just the output. It's an energetic contribution. So why is this a problem when it comes to this whole thing that we've been talking about around the way that trainers are talking about their marketing? They're pushing on this pain point, basically, that you feel that the only way to contribute to your family is to have tangibles. It's not to be present with them. It's not to be like caring and like available, emotionally available, and all of those things, and to model amazing like habits and templates for them to take forward into their lives, and to make them feel a certain way and like the world's their oyster and that they've got all these opportunities. It's simply to make money. What? And that's why in your business at the beginning, or in the stages where things are not just like raining down from the sky, you have to detach your self-worth. Sorry, Buddy wants me to throw a stick. You have to detach your self-worth from productivity of any kind. And this leaks through not just into the point of like getting clients and stuff. This is also like, oh, I didn't get enough done today and I should have done this and I should have done that, but somebody were poorly and that person needed my attention and stuff. And then you're all up in your own face saying how what a bad person you are because you weren't productive, because you've been sold a lie. You've been sold a lie. You've been sold a lie that the only valuable productivity is working hard and climbing up something that is going to eventually provide numbers in the bank. Money's important. I love money. We all need money. Money literally is the energy that we need to exchange for the things that we want. Money's important. You will never ever hear me say that money isn't important. It is. But the money being there, the clients being there or not being there, is never going to make me think anything about myself. Never. Never. Because I do not and will not attach my self-worth to my productivity. And I will also not only identify productivity as something that is hustle, grind, like measurable and tangible in numbers. I'm just not willing to do it. They know that even though they are going through an industrialised education system that basically is there to provide fodder for the system workers, they know that they're not just mincemeat. They're not just like going through a sausage machine, that they're valuable no matter what. And that their only limitations in life will be the beliefs that they take with them. They don't have to believe all of that stuff. They can exist within that system without making it mean anything about their self-worth. And that comes from us. But like I say, the issue is that the education system, it's outdated. It's literally there to provide workers. So, people, you are worthy. You are always contributing. Contribution doesn't only mean graft, hard work, sweat, blood and tears and money in the bank. You're contributing to society. You're contributing to a new narrative. Look at the impact that you get to have in your work. That's contribution. It's so much more. So free yourself. Free yourself. Here I am with my Marxist teaching. Free yourself from the ruling classes who are keeping you small and keeping you in that place by continuing to brainwash you and feed you this lie. See yourself as worthy and deserving and contributing on so many different levels other than money. And life will feel a whole lot different. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Let me know. Right, I'm off to have a nice little wander through the foray, and I will catch you later.